In December last year, myself and my partner bought our first property, a new build flat. It's been a hell of a journey to get here, and in this video I'll share exactly how we did it, all the details, all the figures. To give a snapshot of our journey, we must have viewed over 25 places in 2 years. We had a purchase breakdown, plenty of other things happened along the way, so we're just grateful to find a place which met our needs. And rather than make you wait, let's get straight into it with the top line figures and details about the flat. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom flat in St Albans, so just outside of London. It's a leasehold property with 999 years remaining and no ground rent. The purchase price was $420k, and we purchased it with a 10% deposit and the rest on the mortgage. We'll deep dive into the figures later on, but before we go any further, I want to make clear this video isn't about bragging. It's simply to share our journey and the steps we took in the hope that it helps others who are working towards a similar goal. And to achieve that, we're going to split the video into 4 parts. Firstly, going through why we chose this specific flat. Secondly, deep diving into the mortgage and deposit figures. Thirdly, going through how we saved up for our deposit. And fourth, going through our general journey and learnings. If you're new here, I'm Finch, a management consultant by day, and on this channel we like to discuss all things personal finance with particular focus on how to grow your money. If you'd like to follow my own personal finance journey and get a bunch of other personal finance related videos like this one, then I'd greatly appreciate subscribe. But for this video, let's get into it and let's start with why we chose this specific flat. The biggest reason is location. We've been renting in St Albans the past 4.5 years, and we really like the area. It has great transport links, specifically to central London, which is important for us for work. It also provides a lifestyle which really works for us, and we don't want to compromise on that. Anyone who's been to St Albans will know that it has great restaurants, great walks, lots of nature, and it's also fairly close to our family and friends. So we wanted to carry on with that lifestyle, and staying in St Albans became a priority for us. Unfortunately, St Albans is a very expensive area, so buying a house wasn't possible, so a flat was the next best option. And given our stage of life at 27, we don't have any kids, a flat kind of suits us very well. We weren't just looking at a new build flats either, we were looking at flats in general, and it was more about the flat itself. And when we found this one, it really did tick our boxes. It's close to both the centre, the city centre. St Albans is technically a city, but it's really more like a town centre. It's also close to the station, so we have the best of both worlds in being close to the shops, but also close to transport. And the flat also has the right amount of space for our needs. It has a 2nd bedroom, which doubles as an office, and this is where we are right now. It has generally quite a lot of space for storage and also for our general lifestyle. It has a balcony, which is over here, and I can't wait to use in the summer too. So everything seemed to tick our boxes with this flat. The common downside, or at least perception, of new builds is that they're overpriced. But we felt this one was fairly priced compared to other 2-bed, 2-bathrooms in the area. We actually see the fact that it's a new build as a plus, because there's no need for renovations, we have 10-year warranty, which provides peace of mind, and there was no chain, it's just us and the developer, so it allowed us to move in quick. And all these factors, the location, the fact it was a new build, the fact it met all our criteria, came together for us to make the decision to put an offer in for this place and go through with it all. And so far, we've been really happy with the experience and happy with this flat. So let's move on and deep dive into the specific figures. We bought the flat for £420,000 after some negotiation. The flat was actually reduced by the developer already before we started negotiating, so we were giving a helping hand there. In terms of the breakdown of the 420k, 42k came from our deposit, so 10%, and the rest is on a mortgage. 378,000 on a 35-year term with a 4.65% interest rate fixed for 5 years. On top of this, we also need to pay a service charge, which equates to around £1,800 per year. But the good news is that there's no ground rent with this flat. When I first thought about the fact that I was borrowing 378k, it did feel overwhelming, and that's not even including the interest. But the way we made it work for us financially, at least on a monthly basis, is by going for a longer term mortgage, 35 years, as this meant we were spreading the payments out over a long period. Of course, it's not ideal going with this length of mortgage, as it means we'll end up paying more in interest compared to a shorter term mortgage. But for us, it provided the right level of balance in terms of flexibility in life and affordability. We really wanted to get on the property ladder, but we didn't want to compromise our lifestyle or compromise our ability to achieve other financial goals, like my goal to reach a 100k ISA portfolio. And by going with a longer term mortgage, it meant that the monthly payments were at a level which had the right balance for us. We do also have the option to overpay by 10% annually without any penalties. And my personal plan is that once I reach my 100k ISA portfolio target, I'll shift my focus to overpaying the mortgage to then reduce the overall loan term and the total interest. Now we know this, let's move on to how we saved up for our deposit and how we got our mortgage. We're fortunate to have been in the position to buy without the need for financial support from family. We both have stable jobs and decent earnings, which allowed us to save up for our deposit and secure the mortgage. For the deposit, we made it our mission to save heavily between 2020 to 2023. At the time, we were both still early in our careers, earning much lower salaries than we do now, but we just put away as much as we could, which was around £300 to £400 a month at the time. We're not big spenders anyway, and we were kind of fortunate that the early part of our saving journey coincided with COVID, so we really weren't spending much money at the time and could end up saving more. However, the biggest factor which helped supercharge our journey was putting our deposit savings in lifetime ISA accounts. As with this account type, the government gives you a bonus of 25% on what you put in, up to £1,000 each tax year. If we break down the £42,000 deposit, a huge £7,000 actually came from government LISA bonuses, built up year after year between myself and my partner. £29,500 came from savings in the LISA account, built up from monthly contributions. Around £3,000 came from savings interest, and the final £2,500 came from savings in a separate savings pot which we used towards the reservation fee. We used Moneybox as the platform for our LISAs, and the experience was incredibly smooth with them from start to the finish point of transferring funds to the solicitor. Looking back, the one regret I do have is going for a cash LISA over a stocks and shares LISA. If I'd gone for a stocks and shares LISA and invested that money in a broad market fund or just a fund tracking the S&P 500, I would have got much higher returns than I did through the cash LISA. But when I made the decision to go with a cash LISA, I thought we'd be buying within the next 2 to 3 years, and I didn't want to risk the market volatility for funds which were really important for us. I've also been quite fortunate that in the period that I have had this cash LISA, interest rates have been fairly high, so we have got some good savings interest return. There'll always be that what if question in terms of I could have got a better return, but I should be happy at least I got a good cash interest return. One other thing I want to mention about our saving journey is that the deposit wasn't the only thing we needed to save up for, as of course there's plenty of other fees and costs associated with buying a property. For us, those additional costs were firstly solicitor fees, which came out as £1,700 on a net basis. The total fees were £3,200, but the developer contributed £1,500. We also needed to pay a mortgage product fee, which was £999, but we got £400 cash back on completion. So in total, on a net basis, it cost us £600. There was also moving costs. We hired a van for £78. The reason why our moving costs are fairly low is because we only hired a small van for the day, since we didn't bring a lot of the furniture we had from our old place. Most of that furniture was bought from Facebook Marketplace 5 years ago and was falling apart, so we wanted to save up for new furniture. And that was the final cost with our home buying journey, new furniture. We spent around £2,500 on new furniture, and this figure would have been much higher, but here we had support from family, and we're incredibly grateful for our family support, and specifically our parents, who bought moving in gifts like rugs and IKEA vouchers, which helped massively. So thanks, Mum and Dad. In total, that means our additional costs came to £4,878. So we also set aside money in our savings journey for this, and in total we needed to save £46,878 across our deposit and the additional costs. Now you know all about the numbers, let's talk more about our journey and maybe some learnings which could be useful to others on a similar path. Our savings journey may have sounded straightforward, but the overall journey and process for us in terms of home buying was anything but simple. I mentioned at the start of the video that we must have viewed over 25 properties over 2 years. And I don't even want to think how much time we spent on Rightmove. In the end, we treated it a bit like Twitter, X, in just refreshing and refreshing. I'm going a bit off topic here, but I want to make clear that our journey was a long journey, and there were setbacks in that journey. One particular setback was in mid-2023. At the time, we found a great property. We really liked it, we had an offer accepted, and we got to the stage of contracts. But then we discovered that there was a planning application for a big supermarket and a pub next door to the property. And the supermarket had its car park basically next door to our garden. And the sellers didn't disclose this until they had to. We were quite annoyed at the time, and we ended up pulling out as we didn't want construction work for the next 2 years next to the property, and we weren't sure about living next to a big pub and supermarket anyway. This was a tough setback, as we really did like the property, and we even started making renovation plans. We spent a lot of money on solicitors, surveys, that kind of thing. So the whole experience was a real kick in the teeth, and it led us to being put off looking at properties for a good number of months. Looking back, it did teach us one valuable lesson, in that you shouldn't let one experience define you or your overall journey. We probably did for too long, but I'm glad that experience happened, as it led us to the point where we found a flat we're really happy with. That's not to say that the process with this flat has been smooth sailing either. We had a big challenge with our solicitors, in that our solicitor left their firm halfway through the buying process, and that caused delays and a lot of chasing. But ultimately, I'm grateful to have found this flat and for the whole purchase to have now gone through. Anyone who's on a similar journey, the only advice I can give is just persevere throughout all the challenges. So overall, that's my first property journey. And the whole experience of buying a property has been a great learning experience. I hope this video has helped those who are on a similar path or are thinking about buying. And if you want to follow my wider personal finance journey and get more content like this, as well as content on my journey towards a 100k ISA portfolio, then I'd greatly appreciate subscribe. If you'd like to check out more about LISAs and about Moneybox in particular, I have a video around here. But for this video, thank you for watching.